Let it grow and enhance your grow with Matt Kush. Feel the power from the leaves and the lush. Every harvest brings a different kind of rush. Let it grow and enhance your grow with Matt Kush.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Glad having you here today for another episode of the podcast Facts to Go. This time featuring OG Kush, a strain which is legendary. Few names command such instant recognition. It's more than a strain, it's a myth, it's a movement, it's a linguistic seed that sprouted 1,000 hybrids. This is a story of coastal crossings, uncertain lineage, and the cultural wave that forever changed how we name, brand, and even experience cannabis. Sit back and relax and enjoy 15 minutes of background information of that strain. First of all, if you ask 10 historians or breeders where OG Kush began, you'll get 10 different stories, some conflicting, some poetic. Well, the truth is somehow in between all of them. But let's start our investigation. Most paths leads to Florida in the early 90s, to a small circle of growers experimenting with what they called crippy or kryptonite, a slang for specially potent buds. Somewhere in that humid, secretive scenes, a cut of gemduff meat, a Hindu Kush or a lemon Thai, depending on who you ask. Because there are different stories around, we will never know. But at the end, it was all resulting in a blend which would change everything. The story goes that the clone made its way west with a grower known as John D. And when he was landing in Southern California, just as the region's cannabis identification started to take shape, he was there and introduced the strain. In Los Angeles, San Diego, the San Fernando Valley, places that were incubating not just weed culture but streetwear, music and underground art, and in that melting pot the name OG Kush was born. But where does the name came from? Was it ocean grown and not to California's coast, or original gangster slang borrowed from the hip-hop culture? No one can say for sure. But honestly, that uncertainty added fuel to the legend. Like most good myths, the truth was less important than the story itself. The name OG Kush carried gravity. The Kush part anchored it in geography. The Hindu Kush Mountains, a region whose landrace strains were known for stocky, raisin-heavy, indica-leaning plants. The OG prefix gave it swagger, a mark of authenticity in a scene about to be flooded by imitators. Soon OG became a code, a sign that what people were smoking came from a certain lineage, a certain philosophy. Especially in hip-hop cycles, OG Kush wasn't just cannabis, it was shorthand for quality, luxury, and credibility. Let's picture OG Kush. Tight, chunky buds, almost knobby in form. A forest of trichomes. A tiny, crystal-like glands that sparkle under light. Leaves fade from deep emerald to lime hues, sometimes showing flashes of purple in cooler nights. The scent hits you before the jar opens, earthy, pine-sharp and citrus-bright, all layered over a diesel fuel note that made it instantly recognizable. That aroma became part of its legend. People could identify OG Kush blindfolded. Its flavor profile, when cured well, walks that line between lemon zest and gasoline, with a peppery exhale that leaves a faint tang on the palate. Is that complex balance? It is, the way earthy meets electric, that made it irresistible to growers and consumers alike. Growers often describe OG Kush as rewarding but demanding. It doesn't forgive neglect, but it pays back and care with beauty. It prefers stable indoor environments, medium humidity, balanced nutrient, and strong light. The branches, tough, sturdy, tend to lean under the sheer weight of its resinous colas, so support and trellising are key. Flowering time hovers around 8 to 9 weeks, which made it perfect for indoor cycles in Southern California. Outdoors, OG Kush thrives in dry, sunny climates, the kind of Mediterranean weather where morning dew burns off by noon. Growers talk about OG Kush like a classic car, beautiful, temperamental, and absolutely worth the tune-up time. On the other hand, it's challenging to grow it. The density of those buds is both blessing and curse. Without staking or netting, they can lean, even snap. OG doesn't like extremes. Big swings in humidity or temperature can cause stress, leading to reduced yield or cause mold. The iconic terpene mix can be lost if the plant is dried too fast or cured poorly. Many veteran growers say OG Kush taught them patience, the slow steady cure that unlocks fuel and aroma. Because of its dense foliage, airflow is essential. Spider mites, powdery mildew, the usual suspects, love crowded canopies. In a sense, OG Kush trained an entire generation of growers to think like craftsmen, not just gardeners. By the late 90s, OG Kush wasn't just another strain, it was the strain. It appeared in lyrics, in skate videos, in mixtapes, on mixtape covers. Artists from Cypress Hill to Wiz Khalifa or Snoop Dogg referred it, and in doing so gave it a cultural immorality. Dispensaries used it as a headliner, streetwear brands printed it on shirts, even people who didn't consume cannabis recognized the name. In many ways, OG Kush was the branding revolution before legal branding existed. It created a template, short, punchy name, bold flavor identity, strong regional roots, and more. When you ordered OG Kush, you weren't just buying a strain, you were buying into a ethos. From the original clone only cut came dozens of original offsprings. Tahoe OG, SFA, OG, Ghost OG, Larry OG, Dribble OG, just to name some of them. Each slightly different in expression but true to the core profile. Those descendants became parents of hundreds of modern hybrids. Girl Scout cookies, Headbang Skywalker OG, Booba Kush and countless fuel earthy citrus strains, they had been all crossed with OG Kush. OG Kush worked as a genetic bridge. It connected East Coast diesel influence with West Coast Kush structure, creating a balanced modern profile that came to define American cannabis for over a decade. And don't forget, before OG Kush, cannabis names were often purely descriptive. Northern Lights, Skunk Number 1, OG Kush changed that. It made strain names brands. Growers started protecting cuts, marketing phenotypes, and even building early versions of what we call now craft genetics. The mystique around its origin, Florida, California, Chido, Cross, who knows? All of that gave it the kind of marketing power most brands dream of. Even in legal markets today, the OG tag continues to sell. It signals reliability, potency, and that old-school flavor. One reason OG Kush's legend endures its ambiguity: there's no official breeder's record, no lab-verified parentage. That uncertainty invites curiosity. People love misery they can taste. Like a great piece of folklore, everyone adds their version. Some say OG was written on jars of ocean-grown buds in the Bay Area. Others insist it meant original gangster, a mark of respect among early smokers. Either way, the story travels, and that keeps it alive. OG Kush is proof that consistency can turn myth into legacy. While many strains have come and gone, OG Kush remain a fixture on menus, in music, in memories. It stood for craftsmanship in an era before regulation demanded to have that. It turned growers into storytellers and smokers into historians. The misery didn't hurt, it helped. Every unanswered question about its lineage only depended in aura. OG Kush in the end isn't just about cannabis. It's about the intersection of art, culture and agriculture. It's about one plant nurtured by a few dedicated hands came to symbolize an entire coast's creative spirit. Whether you approach it as a horticulture case study or a brand phenomenon, OG Kush stands as a pillar. It's the West Coast botanical flag, a blend of grit, craft and mist that continues to influence genetic worldwide. The next time you see OG on a label, remember you're looking at the lineage that survived rumors, rebellions and revolutions and still came out golden. When we talk about OG Kush, we are not just talking about a strain, we are talking about a monument in time, a crossroad where culture, chemistry and human curiosity meet and decided to build something bigger than themselves. OG Kush is living proof that history doesn't always come with a paper trail. Sometimes it's carried in stores, in flavors, in whispers, passed down from one grower to the other. It's a reminder that mythology and botany can coexist, that a plant can have both roots and rumors, and both can be true in their own way. Think about it, a single clone moved quietly from Florida to California, became the backbone of an entire generation's aesthetic. It didn't start as a marketing concept or a corporate brand, it started as a grower's secret, a quiet obsession. But what began as the shadows became the voice of the West Coast. OG Kush symbolized independence. It represented small growers, local craft and the handmade ethos of 90s underground culture. Back then, before legalization, cannabis wasn't a product line. It was a form of art. Every harvest, every cure was a signature. A fingerprint left on a living canvas. And OG Kush was the strain that captured that feeling. It didn't just smoke good, it felt authentic. That nobody can agree on its lineage doesn't weaken the story. It's the opposite. Because in the end, the misery invites participation. Everyone who ever grew OG Kush or smoked it or just told the story of it became part of the myth, its collective folklore. At the influence it got. You can hear OG Kush echoing in hip-hop rhymes, see it in streetwear drops, smell it in the air at concerts and festivals. It became more than a strain, it became a status symbol. You'd hear artists say, "This is the real OG," and that line alone carried a decade of credibility. Because OG Kush wasn't just popular, it was proof. Proof that underground had taste, proof that smell and taste goes in hand. Proof that small growers could shape global culture without advertising budgets or distribution networks. Proof that authenticity still matters. That's something that is rare in any industry and almost unheard of in one that was illegal for most of its existence. If you zoom out, OG Kush set the blueprint for how modern cannabis would be built. It established a structure that every strain since has borrowed from. A catchy name, a distinct aroma, a story that feels bigger than the plant itself. When people started saying things like Girl Scout cookies, wedding cake, gelato, they were following the OG Kush playbook. Storytelling through flavor. That's how OG changed the name. It turned weed into identity. Even the idea of small batch boutique top shelf product traces back to the OG era, when a handful of growers threaded every blend like a masterpiece. The lineage isn't just genetic, it's philosophical. If you've ever grown OG Kush, you know it's not a lazy plant. It demands attention, rewards patience and punishes shortcuts. It forces you to be present. And maybe that's the part of its deeper teaching, that good things grow through balance, care and observation. You can't force it, you can't rush it, and you can not fake it at all. In that sense, OG Kush isn't just a plant, it's a practice, a quiet conversation between human and nature about patience, precision and pride. Thank you for listening. I hope you like what you have heard. If so, please leave a like and hit the subscribe button. It will help me. I hope to see you soon again on the channel for another episode of the podcast Facts to Go. of the strain growing journey, or grow off a bro, or any other adventure you like to follow me.